Usually, when we talk about serial killers, people imagine someone older, someone hardened by decades of violence, someone with a long criminal history, someone who looks dangerous. But sometimes evil shows up wearing the face of someone barely old enough to drink. But this story isn't about a masked stranger lurking in alleyways. It's about Instagram DMs, motels, late-night drinking, casual hookups. The kind of situations millions of people walk into every single weekend without a second thought. And somewhere inside all of that normality, there was a girl quietly experimenting on human beings. Not metaphorically, literally experimenting. Testing dosages, observing reactions, adjusting methods after failed attempts, like people were lab rats. Today we're talking about one of South Korea's most disturbing recent criminal cases, a suspected serial killer born in 2005, whose crimes shocked the country, not just because of the murders themselves, but because investigators believe there were warning signs long before anyone died. And the scariest part? Some people think the second victim could still be alive if authorities had moved faster after the first death. Just like a classic scene in the CSI show. Today we are going to talk about the motel killer, Korea's 20-year-old poison murderer. Welcome to the podcast you can't unhear. The story begins in Seoul, January 28th, 2026. Winter in Seoul has a very specific atmosphere. Neon lights reflecting against wet streets, steam rising from food stalls, couples walking around in oversized coats. The city feels alive even late at night. Somewhere in Gangbuk district, in the neighborhood of Suyudong, a young woman met a man through Instagram. Pretty normal nowadays. They followed each other, liked photos, started messaging privately. Eventually, they decided to meet in person. And honestly, there's something important to acknowledge here before we go any further. Nothing about this situation would have seemed especially dangerous to most people. This wasn't a dark alleyway. This wasn't organized crime. This wasn't someone meeting a known predator. It was modern dating culture. Two people meeting up after talking online. That's what makes this case psychologically terrifying. It weaponized normality. The man, reported to be in his late 20s, checked into a motel with her. They ordered food. They drank together. Hours later, the girl left the room alone. But before leaving, she sent him a message. Something casual. Something almost caring. "Hey, you seem too drunk. You're sleeping the whole time. I'm going home now." That text matters psychologically because it wasn't panic. It wasn't confusion. It was scene management. She was already shaping the narrative before the body was even discovered. The next afternoon, around checkout time, motel staff entered the room. The man was dead. Now at this point, you'd think investigators would move aggressively, because Seoul is covered in surveillance cameras, especially around hotels and motels. Police quickly confirmed the victim had entered the room with a young woman the night before. And within days, they identified her. But this is where the story becomes infuriating. When investigators contacted her for questioning, she reportedly said she had another event to attend and asked if she could come in later. Not the next day. A full week later. And unbelievably, police agreed. Now look, I understand investigators need evidence. I understand legal procedure matters. But from the outside looking in, this decision feels catastrophic. Because during that delay, another man died. This is the part that haunts people the most. Not just the killer's actions, but the possibility that someone could have been saved. February 9th, 2026, the exact day she was supposed to appear for questioning. Instead of going to the police station, she met another man. Another motel. Another night of drinking. Another setup. And one detail from this night is deeply strange. The pair ordered around 130,000 won worth of fried chicken. That's an absurd amount of food for 2 people. 5 or 6 whole chickens. Way too much. And honestly, it almost feels surreal. Like one of those tiny details that sticks in your brain because it makes no emotional sense. 2 hours after checking in, she left the motel carrying bags of food and took a taxi home alone. The next day, the second man was found dead. And at that point, the entire country exploded with anger. Because now there was a pattern. And the timeline made everything worse. People couldn't stop thinking, if police had detained her after the first death, would this man still be alive? The suspect was identified only as a woman surnamed Kim, born in 2005. So young that many people struggled to process the reality of the case. And after psychological evaluation using the PCLR psychopathy assessment, she reportedly tested as a psychopath. But what's chilling is that warning signs may have existed for years. Former classmates described her as manipulative and dishonest. One story that circulated involved stolen AirPods. Apparently, she stole them from a friend and later tried selling them online, only to get caught when the victim contacted the seller alongside a teacher. Eventually, she was expelled and reportedly isolated herself from former classmates afterward. Now, obviously, not everyone who steals becomes a killer. But what investigators started seeing was a pattern of behavior centered around exploitation, using people, manipulating trust, lacking remorse, and eventually escalating. Her alleged murder method was horrifyingly simple. She used prescription sedatives. Now, these medications are dangerous enough on their own when abused. But mixed with alcohol, they can suppress breathing, impair consciousness, and become deadly. And according to investigators, she knew that. Because before the murders, she repeatedly asked AI chat apps whether mixing the drugs with alcohol was dangerous. And she was told yes, multiple times. That detail is honestly disturbing in a very modern way, because it means she actively researched the risk beforehand, which destroys the idea that this was accidental. And according to police, the murders may not have been her first attempts. They believe she had already been testing the method on other men months earlier. That's the truly horrifying part. The experiments. October 2025. A man collapses unconscious after drinking wine with her at a restaurant. Luckily, they were in public. People noticed quickly. Emergency responders arrived. He survived. Then, December 2025. Her boyfriend at the time suddenly collapses after drinking something she gave him during an argument. Again, public place. Again, survival. And what's chilling is that he reportedly suspected her afterward. Imagine that feeling. Knowing deep down something feels wrong, but not having proof. Then came another incident in January 2026 involving a man losing consciousness and waking up disoriented after spending time with her. By this point, investigators believe she was refining dosage amounts. And honestly, I think this is what separates ordinary killers from truly predatory minds. Experimentation. The emotional detachment required to observe human suffering almost scientifically. One thing I think people miss about cases like this is how much they challenge gender assumptions. Society often underestimates female violence, especially when the perpetrator is young or physically small. People instinctively lower their guard. And predators know that. According to reports, she used social media very strategically. If men liked her posts, she'd message them, flirt casually, arrange meetings, and she reportedly always asked one particular question: how much can you drink? That wasn't casual conversation. That was vulnerability assessment. She specifically targeted men willing to consume alcohol heavily. And honestly, there's another uncomfortable reality here too. A lot of men don't perceive themselves as potential victims, especially in dating situations. That false sense of security can become dangerous. One surviving acquaintance later shared something eerie. He said she hated spending money. Absolutely hated it. And he believed one reason he survived was because he didn't drink alcohol, meaning he may simply have been a poor target. Imagine realizing afterward that the only reason you survived someone was because your habits made you inconvenient to kill. That's horrifying. But there's still one detail investigators and the public remain fixated on. After the second victim died, she reportedly used his money to order huge amounts of fried chicken and brought it home. Why? Nobody really knows. Maybe impulse. Maybe celebration. Maybe emotional emptiness so extreme that ordinary cravings simply continued after murder. Not rage. Not insanity. Normal appetite. The ability to kill someone, then casually think about dinner. That level of emotional disconnection is hard for normal people to even imagine. When police searched her home, they reportedly found large quantities of hangover drinks, the same drinks she allegedly used to mask the sedatives. The drinks themselves are common in Korea. Tons of people use them after drinking. That's another thing predators often exploit. Familiarity. If something feels ordinary, people lower their defenses. And by the time investigators fully understood the pattern, 2 people were already dead, possibly more nearly killed. This case triggered huge conversations in South Korea about policing, about online dating, about psychopathy, about whether warning signs were ignored. But personally, the thing that sticks with me most is how methodical everything feels. The social media targeting, the repeated questioning about alcohol tolerance, the dosage escalation, the experimentation. It doesn't feel impulsive. It feels clinical. And honestly, I think that's why this case unsettles people so deeply. Because it reminds us that evil doesn't always arrive screaming. Sometimes it arrives through a notification, a follow request, a casual invitation to grab drinks. And by the time danger becomes visible, it's already too late. If there's one lesson here, it's this. Trust your instincts. Meet people publicly. Be careful with substances around strangers. And never assume danger only looks a certain way. Because some predators don't look threatening at all. Sometimes they look young, quiet, attractive, harmless. Sometimes they smile while poisoning your drink. As always, stay safe out there, my friend. See you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.